Good afternoon, everybody. Christian Bauer here, Bauer Sports Media, coming at you again today with another college football preview video for the 2020 season. And up today, a team from the Big Ten, the Michigan State Spartans. All right, so you look at Michigan State, a team in the Big Ten. In the Big Ten, I guess, what are they, in the East or something? I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But you look at a team like Michigan State. This is not a nobody program, right? We talk about teams in the dumps, never won a natty, never done, never do nothing, nobody teams or whatever, right? They're not nobodies. They're well-known programs. We know who they are because of the conference that they're in. Despite that, there are still teams that really suck, that are just not good. You look at Michigan State, a team with a new head coach, as Mark D'Antonio is now out. Hold on, who is the new hire? Mel Tucker. I think it's a great hire. First off, to start out, he was the head coach at Colorado, did a decent job. Will he do great at Michigan State? I don't know. I'm not going to count on it. But I think it is definitely an upgrade from Mark D'Antonio, who retired from coaching last year. They let him go. So we'll have to see what it looks like. I don't think Michigan State will necessarily be Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan quite yet, right away. But he could probably be the guy to get it going in the right direction. Let's take a look back at last year for Michigan State real quick. Michigan State, 7-6 overall, with the bowl win over Wake Forest. So they went 6-6 in the regular season. They lost to Arizona State at home. 10-7. Obviously, no offense in that game. And then at Ohio State, a couple weeks later, at Wisconsin. Not bad losses. I mean, score-wise, yes. Team-wise, no. Of course, pretty much any team, except for Purdue, will lose to Ohio State. At Wisconsin, Wisconsin's a decent program. It's not quite what it was a couple years ago when they had a chance at the playoff, but it's definitely a program that if you lose to them, it's not like you shouldn't have a reaction like Georgia State beating Tennessee last year. You know what I mean? So that's not too bad of a loss. Penn State's not too bad of a loss. I think for a program like Michigan State, though, I guess a home loss against Illinois is tough, but you beat teams like Rutgers and Maryland. So you started out winning your first two games. So to quickly recap and go through the season instead of bouncing around a little bit, you beat Tulsa 28-7 at home. You start with 3 straight home games. You win 2 out of the 3 in Tulsa, Western Michigan, and you lose to Arizona State. You won at Northwestern, beat Indiana at home, lost to Ohio State, lost to Wisconsin, had a bye week, and this might have messed them up quite a bit. This is insane right here. Every team got 2 bye weeks. Now, it's not crazy that they got 2 bye weeks. It's how the calendar fell with Thanksgiving, and in order to play 12 games, with rivalry day being the 30th of November, with games like the game or the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, or whatever. I think maybe the Egg Bowl was Friday night, but either way, you get it. You had to start the last weekend of August just to play 12 games for every team. So in order to do that, teams got 2 bye weeks. Well, Michigan State had a bye week October 19th, played Penn State, who they lost to, came off that with another bye week. So that was really tough. Whereas you look at teams that probably had a bye week maybe last week of September and then first week of November, right? That's not too bad, but I mean, to have both of them mid-season and literally like back-to-back or every other week kind of thing right there, that's tough. And you had your last 4 games after your second bye week, and you only won 2 out of the 4 at Rutgers and home against Maryland. Beat your bowl opponent in the Pinstripe Bowl in Wake Forest, 27-21. So this program, ever since they made the college football playoff a couple years ago, and people forget that. I think people forget the 2015 season that Alabama had. Well, I mean, they remember Jake Coker winning that title, but I think some people forget that Michigan State was in that Cotton Bowl game they had to win in order to go to the championship to play Clemson. Michigan State was in there. Mark D'Antonio was the coach. They had a great season then. But man, ever since that loss, ever since that season, it has gone downhill. I don't even think they've won the Big Ten. They haven't made the Big Ten. It has just been a waterfall, downhill, whatever, right? It hasn't been good. And I just don't... Like, what is it going to take for Michigan State to get back to being that kind of program that can compete for the Big Ten championship and possibly win the Big Ten championship is the question. So, and again, I made a bowl game. They went 6-6. They were 4-5 in the Big Ten. That's not good. They had a win streak of 3 to end the season. That's not too bad, but again, I mean, you look at their opponents. Rutgers. They're a pee-wee football team in the Big Ten. Wake Forest, ACC. I mean, as close as it was, still, Wake Forest isn't that great. Maryland, I guess that's a good win. I mean, Mike Locksley, who, by the way, again, now has Talia Tagovailoa. We'll see what he can do with him. I'll talk about that in a Maryland preview video. But, I mean, it just... Oh, they won the last 3 games they played? Yeah, because they played nobody. Right? Not nobody schools or teams, but just in the sense, like, they didn't play an Oklahoma or a Penn State or a... I mean, you know what I mean? So, with that being said, let's move on and look at the 2020 season. All right, 2020 for Michigan State's open up home against Northwestern, a Big Ten team, pretty much the worst in the Big Ten. Then you go on the road and play at BYU. Then you play Toledo. You play Miami as your homecoming game, September 26th. That might be an interesting matchup in the sense that both of these teams are, you know, 6-win programs. You know, they're not playoff contenders. They're not big time bowl game contenders, but they're schools that are interesting. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. Come off the Miami game at Iowa, home against your in-state rival in Michigan. Play Ohio State at home, at Indiana, home against Minnesota. Bye week. Come off the bye week November 7th. Everyone only gets one bye week this year. At Penn State, home against Rutgers, and at Maryland. I mean, you could probably go ahead and pick these losses. So, I don't know. I look at this schedule. I think they... I don't know. I don't even know what their quarterback situation is going to look like or anything. I don't really think anybody really knows. But, I mean, and again, Michigan State, not a nobody team, but a nobody program in the sense like they just have gone downhill and downhill the past 4 or 5 years. So, and they finished 4-5 in conference play. I don't know if they could get any worse. I get they're going to be working with a new head coach, but and Mel Tucker, who I guess did a decent job at Colorado. I'm not sure exactly what to think of the hire. So let me take a look real quick. His college record. So he's only coached 1 year. You can't really judge him based off one exact year. So he's a really young coach. He coached last year at Colorado. Went 3-6 in conference play. They finished 5th in the Pac-12 South Division. They went 5-7 overall. So close to bowl eligibility, So I really don't know. I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know if Mel Tucker said, I want a different job and I don't want to coach at Colorado, or if they truly let him go. I don't know. But he could be the guy. There's certain coaches that, with environments and players and just they got to be fit for the right university, I think. So again, I'm not gonna sit here and say Mel Tucker is a bad hire or a bad coach or anything. Again, really only 1 year of coaching experience, so he could be the guy to turn this program around. He might not be. I don't know. I'm not going to be the one to judge that. But with that being said, I guess I'll go ahead and pick some losses here. So again, you open up with Northwestern. I think that should be no problem. That's a home game. If this were on the road, I pick Northwestern. But Northwestern is terrible, down in the dumps. The worst in the Big Ten, in my opinion. At BYU. And let's see. At BYU, they beat Tennessee last year like it was a quality win or anything. I mean, it just gave all of us fans a laugh. I don't know what to make of this game. I mean, I guess Michigan State could win this. But at the same time, I have a feeling that Mel Tucker's just going to struggle quite a bit in his first year here. And might slip up in a couple games he probably shouldn't. But I don't know. I think you get some motivation coming off a win week 1 at home. I think you win at BYU. Toledo comes to town. Let's see. So let me start over real quick. Home against Northwestern, that's a win. At BYU, I think you win that. You start off 2-0. Toledo should be no problem. Nobody Tech, nobody State. Who are they? University, whatever. Right? Probably a good school. I don't know. But football team wise, they're terrible. This is a home game. Should be no problem. Miami comes to town. That should be interesting. We'll see what Miami looks like. Think they're still putting up with Manny Diaz. I don't know what to make of Miami yet. This could be a trap game. Finally, you actually get some competition here, in the sense that for a team like Michigan State, that's just not that great of a program right now. Yeah, this is competition, I guess. Miami comes to town. Homecoming game. I'm going to say Miami pulls this off on the road. It'll be close. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to go and blow you guys out. But I have a feeling Miami will be in a mood to pull an upset that weekend. And I don't know. I have a feeling that, Michigan State might overlook it a little bit. And it might mess them up. Now, I don't expect you to blow out Miami like 6,500 to nothing or anything. But, I mean, I expect a close game either way, but I think I'm going to go with Miami here to pull an upset. Then you go at Iowa. Now, I did an Iowa preview video. I'm trying to remember who I picked. I think I do remember picking Iowa to win that game this year. Let's see. You come off a loss with Miami. You go to Iowa. Iowa's a tough place. Iowa's a decent program. Can compete here or there. I think I think you lose at Iowa just because it's a road game and you're coming off a loss. Who knows how you're going to take that? Do you use it as motivation? Do you get caught up in it a little bit? Are weaknesses exposed? What's going to happen in that Miami game? Coming off a loss, I'm going to say you probably lose to Iowa here. Did you play them last year? Let me see. No, you did not. So, but either way, I think Iowa can pull the upset on the road, or at home, I'm sorry. Michigan comes to town. Michigan's a far better program. They're not necessarily elite or anything. They're, I don't want to say they're not elite, but they definitely are a program that can compete in the Big Ten. Far better than Michigan State. Your in-state rival coming on the road. Let's see. So I'm gonna say probably give this to Michigan just because they're the better team. I just have a feeling no matter what happens, Jim Harbaugh's gonna find a way to pull this game out. All right, so I'm going with Michigan. They're going to be a favorite in this game, I'm sure. Will it be a heavy favorite? I don't know. I don't think so because it's a road game for them. But I think in the end they pull it out and pull it off. And so Ohio State comes to town. You already know Ohio State's an elite, dominant program. Ryan Day's got it going in the right direction. Justin Fields comes back. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care if this is a road game or a home game for Michigan State. I don't care. Ohio State, at the end of the day, is the best in the Big Ten. And so, yeah, they're going to win that game. At Indiana, this should be interesting. Indiana, not sure what they look like in 2020. Haven't done a preview video for them yet. Let's see. I'm going to say, I don't know. I could see you guys winning this, I guess. Indiana is one of those programs that, they made a bowl game last year. I think maybe they went 7-5 or 6-6, something. I'll have to look back. But I know they made, was it like the Gator Bowl or something, and they almost beat Tennessee. Probably looked like a team that probably should have beat Tennessee. So, let me double check here. Yeah, 23-22 was the final score of that bowl game. They went 8-4 in the regular season. So it's a good enough program, I guess. But looking at their schedule, well, they won some good competition, and you lost to them last year, Michigan State, 40-31. That was a home game, so this is a road game. Yeah, I'm gonna say you take a loss here. In Bloomington, Indiana. That you come off that on Halloween home game against Minnesota. Did a Minnesota preview. Pretty sure I picked Minnesota to win this. I think PJ Fleck has this program going in the right direction. Probably won some more games than he should have last year. beat Penn State. I think now you can say whatever you want about, oh well, Penn State was on the road and this was home game for Minnesota. Okay, whatever. Well, Penn State is a Big Ten contender. They're the second best team in the East, behind Ohio State, and so I don't know. I think Minnesota pulls this one off on the road. Home game for Michigan State, of course. Come off all of those games with the bye week finally November 7th. At Penn State, after the bye week, this is in Beaver Stadium. Oh no, who to pick? Penn State, of course. Come on. Penn State, I just mentioned. Talking about the Minnesota-Penn State game last year. Penn State's elite in the Big Ten. Real contender. Real competitor. James Franklin has it going the right direction, I think. So, of course, I'm going to pick Penn State. You come off that, Rutgers, week 11, should be no problem. Rutgers is terrible. Just embarrassing for a Power 5 team. If you lose this, I will come on here and laugh. If you lose to Rutgers at home, okay, I don't care how your season has been. Rutgers is terrible. Trash. They have nothing. After a loss to Penn State, I don't care what your record is, okay? For all it could be, you could be winless in week 11. You could be 0-10. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just given a scenario, if you lose to Rutgers, I will personally come on my YouTube channel and laugh my butt off at this. There's no excuse that Michigan State should lose to Rutgers. Then you finished off at Maryland. Talia Tagovailoa there, the quarterback. This is a road game. Mike Locksley, offensive-minded coach. He's gotten himself a quarterback he knows pretty well, I'm sure. So I think Maryland's going to be a great team. And so I think that you will lose that game. So not a great season for you. So let's see. Since I picked quite a few losses, let's look at some of the wins so I can go ahead and calculate this. Let's see. Northwestern. Let's see. I'm going to say you beat... Now, I know what I probably said about each of these games, but I'm just going to go ahead and call it here. I think they win Northwestern. I think they win... I do think they'll win at BYU. I don't think they're going to be that bad. So that's 2. I think they win Toledo. So that's 3. The Miami game is going to be interesting. Since this is a home game, I'll give it to you. But then again, if you're bad enough, Miami will beat you. But I'm going to say you pull this off. Let's see. I think you win Rutgers. And I guess that's it. I really did not pick a lot of teams for you to win. So I think you win your first 4 games. Northwestern, BYU, Toledo, and Miami. And then I think you beat Rutgers week 11. And with that being said, you're going 5-7, in my opinion. So close. You just needed 1 win. You just needed 1 win just to make a bowl game. You come up short. But again, made the playoffs years ago. You have not been back since. You haven't even come close to it. 5-7 for the Michigan State Spartans. Listen, I don't hate Michigan State. I'm just trying to call it like it is. They're just not an elite program right now in the Big Ten. I wouldn't even come close to calling them a competitor, but maybe they could do something this year and prove me wrong. With who did I say the new coach was? Mel Tucker. Yeah, Mel Tucker, who was at Colorado. I guess did a decent job, but it might take him a while. So 5-7 record for the Michigan State Spartans in 2020. So I guess that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Comments always appreciated as well. 5-7 record for the Michigan State Spartans. Again, so close to a bowl game. Yeah, come up short a little bit, I guess. Michigan State fans, tell me why Mel Tucker's the guy, or tell me why you miss Mark D'Antonio for some weird reason. Tell me why you guys are going 15-0. Tell me why you're winning the Big Ten. Go ahead, let's hear it. But I got them going 5-7. And again, they're not a nobody team, but they're not elite. Not even close to it at the moment. So, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, man. They're kind of hard to figure out, but at the same time, like, listen, you're not going to be too bad. Come on. But anyway, 5-7 record for the Michigan State Spartans. So we'll just have to see what happens in 2020. Anyway, that's it for me. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, Ballard Sports Media. Checking out. Y'all have a good one.